I'm Dave First. We're here with Lee Bentham, the spotter for the BitNile.com Chevrolet, the number 21 for Ed Carpenter Racing, and of course driver Rinus VeeKay. And for those who don't know what a spotter does, Lee, explain what a spotter does.
Basically, it's a second set of eyes. Keep the driver safe, first and foremost. Always safety. So if there's anything happening in front,
give you a big wave in the background. Nice.
Of course, yes. We keep the guys safe. So if there's a crash happening ahead that they can't see, because no one realizes there's not a lot of vision in these cars.
Yeah.
And you're tucked down in, you have a windshield, the mirrors are really small. So it's hard to see behind, it's hard to see ahead, especially when you're following cars behind a rear wing or something like that. So we keep them appraised of if there's a crash happening up ahead, a checkup or something like that. And obviously people catching, from behind and, where they're going to go, and we try and protect ourselves as best we can.
Literally the eyes and ears. This series obviously goes street courses, road courses, ovals. What are the differences in your job as you maneuver all that?
Lots of differences for me because I am a spotter and a coach for the entire team.
Yep.
So on the road courses, up until the race, I'll do a lot more coaching from different corners, performance engineering type stuff. So we're always looking at video data, in-car stuff, trying to just get the most out of what we can on the weekend.
Right. Is the stress level any different if you're on an oval, high-speed oval, Texas, Indianapolis?
It is.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah. On the road courses, the drivers can do a lot more, and it's a little bit less critical. When you get to Texas and places like here, the speeds are so high, things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
You really got to be up on it, and it is a little more nerve-wracking, especially here, because it is such a big event, at Indy. But Texas is pretty wild as well, and even the shorter ovals. When you go to Iowa, there's a lot happening, and things happen quickly.
You talked about your role as a coach. You've been doing that for some 20 years, but before that, some fans probably remember you as back in the old Toyota Atlantic Series, or the series now known as Indy NXT by Firestone. You won some races there. Tell us about that career.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I drove for Players back in the day, Players Forsyth, and I got there the same way as most people do, racing go-karts for 10, 12 years all over the world, and eventually moved up, and it was a fantastic time. I mean, there were great cars. I had a lot of fun. It's pretty exciting.
Do you miss driving?
Of course.
Yes.
Anybody that's not in a car, let me tell you guys, anybody that's not in a car anymore, they miss it, 100%. And for me, like I started at 10 years old. It was so kind of natural for me, and my dad taught me, so, and I just kind of picked up on it. It was so natural for me that it was easier for me to drive anything than it is coaching and spotting. It's like way more work to stay on top of these guys and go through the data and everything else. But jumping in a car, man, when you get in that office and you're alone and you're with yourself and you're racing against, the track and the time and other people, there's nothing like that.
It's the beauty of the sport, really, at its essence. You've been able to parlay that into coaching and now the role you have here. So how much fun is that? And still being a part of this industry is pretty cool.
I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. Not everybody can. My career ended, and it's the usual thing. Can't find sponsorship or whatever. You can't keep going. I was able to get into the coaching and come back to the Forsyth Atlantic team, actually, where I coached our own James Hinchcliffe. So
I was going to ask you some of the drivers you work with. Hinch. Obviously the folks here at Ed Carpenter Racing too.
Joseph Newgarden when he was with us. We got Connor, obviously, Mike Conway, J.R. Hildebrand. I mean, there's a lot of different people that have come through here at ECR.
Some guys that have won some races there
exactly.
too, right?
And then I've done Star Mazda, stock cars, everything. So the list is this long. I've probably forgotten half the guys I've worked with, but it's been a great career. It's fun. It's fun still being in the sport, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that.
All right, last thing, you're working with Rinus VeeKay. In many ways, you got your hands full with Rinus, right?
He's a character.
Yes, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's a lot of personality.
Does he like a lot of chatter in his ear when he's driving, or not so much?
He likes a lot lot of information.
Yeah.
So we'll remind him of stuff all the time, and about the tools and whatever. So there's some chatter about balancing the car and things like that, especially at the speedway. But he doesn't mind information at all. I mean, he's really exceptional at accepting feedback, like at the moment. So we've been here at the Indy GP before, and I've talked to him 300 feet before the brake zone and said he needs to be like 18 feet deeper, and he'll
Really?
do it.
Wow.
He's done it. So that part of it is quite amazing.
Good to have a coachable kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And when he has success, you feel it too. You're a part of this thing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you have a good day and everything is syncing up, and you know
Yeah.
you've seen the games that you're trying to find, and they're really tough in this series. I mean, you're talking about half a tenth here, half a tenth there. Literally 10 feet getting on the throttle earlier can be a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fine tuning.
In many ways, this is very much a team sport. Lee Bentham certainly a part of that here at Ed Carpenter Racing. Lee Bentham, NTT, Meet the Paddock.